All right, open up a case file. This one is particularly chilling. It all went down at a roadside diner on Route 9. We're gonna break down one person's account of a closing shift that went from totally normal to absolutely terrifying. It's a classic study in unexplained phenomena, and honestly, it hits all the beats of a truly modern ghost story. So, let's dive in. So get this, the entire vibe of this job, closing up the diner every night, could be boiled down to just these 3 words. 6 months of the same exact thing. Lock the doors, clean the floors, go home. And that feeling, that absolute predictable safety, that's our baseline. It's the quiet before the storm, the normal that makes what happened next so disturbing. You know how all the scariest stories seem to start, right? With everything being totally, completely normal. Well, this one is no exception. It all begins with the familiar, quiet rhythm of a closing shift, just moments before everything changed for good. So let's really paint a picture here. It's March 12th. It's almost 3 in the morning, deep into the witching hour. The highways outside are dead quiet, the dining room is dark, and the only sound is that low, steady hum from the walk-in cooler. And it's that deep, humming silence, well, that's the canvas for the strangeness that's about to be painted. And this is where things start to go off the rails. The final check of the booths. It leads our narrator to booth 7. You know the one, the corner booth shoved right up against a big, dark window that just looks out into pure blackness. This is the exact spot where simple, boring, safe, just shatters. Now, what's so creepy about this is how it all builds, you know? It starts with something small, something you could just brush off, a little dark red smear, probably just syrup. But then there's the plate. It's spotless, but it shouldn't even be there. And then you notice the utensils, laid out with this perfect, deliberate precision. Each little detail gets a bit weirder than the last, building this quiet, creeping dread. But it's that last step, that's what takes this from just odd to something's really wrong here. This detail is everything. Not just cool, not just chilly, fridge cold. It's a physical shock. A detail that just makes no logical sense. I mean, think about it. How does a metal fork get that cold in a room temperature diner? It's impossible. It's like the basic laws of physics just decided to take a quick vacation. Right there in booth 7. Okay, so right when reality is starting to feel a little unstable, technology steps in. The phone buzzes. You look down. The security app is flashing an alert. Motion detected, dining area. Now, you'd think a camera would give you the straight story, right? A clear answer? But what it's about to show is so much worse. And this right here is where the real horror kicks in. Because what our narrator was seeing on their phone was not what they were seeing with their own 2 eyes just 10 feet away. It's this terrifying disconnect between reality and the digital record of it, a true ghost in the machine. So what could possibly set off a motion detector in an empty, locked diner? The camera feed has an answer, but trust me, it's not one that's going to help you sleep at night. On the phone screen, plain as day, there is a figure sitting in booth 7, hunched over, totally still. But our narrator looks up with their own eyes, and the booth is empty. Looks back down at the phone, the figure is right there. That's the heart of the terror, isn't it? 2 realities happening at the exact same time. One in the physical world, and a much darker one playing out on that little screen. And just when you think it can't possibly get any weirder, it moves. It starts raising an invisible fork to a blurred out mouth. It chews. It swallows. It's performing this silent, deeply disturbing pantomime of eating a meal. And the thing is, it's clearly doing it on purpose, which is almost scarier because it makes absolutely 0 sense. This timeline just breaks it down with this cold, clinical precision. At 3:01 a.m., our narrator accidentally bumps a chair, makes a noise. And on the screen, the figure reacts. It actually tilts its head as if it heard. It knows they're there. Then it stands up, and it's impossibly tall, and it starts walking towards the camera, towards their point of view, until the signal just dies. But right before the feed cuts to black, that's the last image they see. The blurred out face on the screen, it doesn't resolve into a person. No, the pixels themselves twist into a smile. A smile that's way too wide with way too many teeth. It wasn't a real face. It was like the technology itself had become haunted. I mean, what do you even do after seeing something like that? The only reaction is pure blind panic. Forget setting the alarm, forget the final checks, you just run. And what follows is that chilling attempt to make sense of an impossible horror in the normal world. 20. 20 miles. That's how far they drove before they even felt safe enough to stop. They didn't just leave, they fled. Drove all the way to the next town, found the brightest, most sterile-looking gas station they could, and only then did they have the guts to look at that security app again. And this is where the story gets so isolating. Because on one hand, you have this visceral, life-altering terror, and on the other, you get the owner's completely dismissive explanation. Oh, it was a system crash. Yeah, the old camera showed artifacts sometimes. It's a classic element in these stories, isn't it? The horror gets reduced to a technical glitch, something to be laughed off, making the person who saw it feel completely alone. But maybe the creepiest part of all is how fast everything was just cleaned up. By the time our narrator finally checks the app again from 20 miles away, the feed is back online. The timestamp reads 3:05 a.m. Only a few minutes have passed, but the diner is pristine. The plate, the utensils, the smear, all of it, gone, as if it never ever happened. But we know something happened. Our narrator knew too. They quit on the spot, never set foot in that diner again. But the story? Oh, it's not over. Because about a month later, one final, chilling piece of the puzzle shows up, suggesting this was no one-time glitch. A friend who has no idea about any of this sends a photo they took of the diner at night. Inside, you can see a family. They're laughing, having a good time in, you guessed it, booth 7. A perfect picture of normalcy. But then you look closer. In the reflection of that dark window, you can see it. A tall, dark figure in a hoodie standing right behind them. And the signature? Right there on their table, in the middle of their food, sits a single, clean, perfectly set plate. So this thing, it wasn't a glitch. It's a fixture. It seems to be a silent observer, still there, watching, setting a place at the table for someone or something. Which leaves us with one absolutely terrifying question. If this phantom diner is still watching from the reflections, who is that empty plate for? And are they being invited as a guest, or are they the meal?